So, you want to sell the Eiffel Tower. Good news, you don't own it. Bad news, neither does the man you're about to sell it to. Better news still, that has never stopped anyone. This is Victor Lustig. He speaks 5 languages, holds 45 known aliases, and has never once done an honest day's work in his entire life. He is, by every possible measure, a professional liar. And today, in the year 1925, he is going to sell France's most famous monument to a man who very much believes he is buying it. This is exactly how he did it. It starts, as the best crimes do, with a newspaper. You see, the Eiffel Tower was never actually meant to be permanent. It was built for the World's Fair and only meant to stand for 20 years. Now it's rusting, the paint costs an absolute fortune, and the Paris newspapers are openly asking whether the city should simply tear it down. Most people read this and feel a little sad. Victor reads this and sees the opportunity of a lifetime. Step 1. Stationery. Victor has counterfeit government letterhead printed up and hands himself a magnificent new job title, Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. A title that is official, impressive, and completely imaginary. Step 2. The guest list. He invites the 5 biggest scrap metal dealers in Paris to a private meeting at an expensive hotel. The government, he tells them in a hushed voice, has made a very difficult decision. The tower is to be quietly demolished and sold off for scrap, discreetly, because the public naturally would be furious. None of this is true. It is also, by the way, deeply illegal, which is precisely why it sounds so believable. He gives them the grand tour. And here Victor does something truly brilliant. He acts nervous. He glances at the doors. He lowers his voice. He behaves exactly like a corrupt official who is terrified of being caught. Because nothing on earth sells a lie like a man who seems afraid of telling it. The dealers eat it up, but one of them bites harder than all the rest. His name is André Poisson, new money, desperate to be taken seriously by the snobbish old families of Paris. To him, owning the Eiffel Tower wouldn't just be a business deal, it would make him a legend, and Victor can smell it on him. So he does the one thing that separates a merely good con artist from a truly great one. He asks Poisson for a bribe. He confides, very quietly, that the salary of a humble public servant is frankly insulting, and that a deal of this magnitude could surely include a little something for the official who makes it all happen. This is genius, because now Poisson isn't being scammed by a stranger. In his own mind, he is bribing a crooked bureaucrat, and crooked bureaucrats are absolutely real. The bribe didn't make the con more dangerous, it made the whole thing convincing, and so Poisson pays. He pays for the exclusive scrap rights to the entire Eiffel Tower, and then he pays the bribe right on top. All of it handed over to a man whose entire authority rests on a single sheet of forged letterhead. Victor takes the money, calmly boards the very first train to Vienna, and waits for the storm to break. He waits for the headlines, the scandal, the police, and nothing comes. Total silence. Because André Poisson is far, far too humiliated to ever go to the authorities. To report the crime, he would first have to admit that he tried to bribe a government official, and that he attempted to buy a national monument out of pure naked greed. So instead, he says nothing to anyone. And that silence brings us to the single greatest part of this entire story. Victor waits a few quiet weeks in Vienna. No arrest, no scandal, no mention of it in a single newspaper anywhere in France. So Victor does the only logical thing a man in his position could possibly do. He goes back to Paris, and he does the whole thing again. The exact same speech, the exact same forged letterhead, the exact same secret demolition of the exact same tower, which he had already sold once, and which was, of course, still very much standing. He gathers 5 brand new scrap dealers around the very same table, and he begins again, word for word. This time, however, one of his marks gets suspicious and goes to the police before handing over a single franc. But Victor, naturally, is already long gone. He slips quietly away and flees across the ocean to America, where he would go on to swindle gangsters, briefly con Al Capone himself, and run a counterfeiting operation so enormous that the United States Treasury gave him a special nickname. That nickname, of course, was the man who sold the Eiffel Tower. Because some achievements simply follow you forever. Victor Lustig was eventually caught, for the counterfeiting, never for the tower, and he died behind bars in Alcatraz. And on his official death certificate, under the heading of occupation, someone wrote, with a perfectly straight face, apprentice salesman. The Eiffel Tower, you may have noticed, is still standing today. It was never sold for scrap, not even once. Which means that, technically speaking, it is still on the market. So if anyone out there happens to be selling, do let me know. And subscribe. It's free. Probably.